that they all came out here for. So somebody figured out where he is, where his SUV is, and that's why we see the people now swarming that SUV as it's trying to back out, but clearly being blocked as people keep swarming over to this area. Wow. It would appear to be, at least from what since we've been here, this seems to be the first time people are seeing the live stream sensation that is inside of that vehicle, because you can see everybody is just trying to get their hands on that truck. But this does appear, from what we can tell, it's the first time I've seen the crowd concentrated like this over around one person. From this. I'm not sure what that car is, but a large number of the crowd started following it. Yeah, a large number of the crowd started following that truck when it came up on East 17th Street. So I'm not clear how that's associated with the live streamer that's in that SUV trying to get away. Okay. He should be coming out this side over here. There's nowhere else he could have gone, I don't believe. There it is. That's East 17th Street heading back towards 5th Avenue. So they're going west on East 17th, and you can see people hanging all over that SUV as they're going down at a fairly good speed. Not recommended. Oh. Yep. Does not. And Dana and Marcia, if you hear me, just you're talking about the arrest. That city bus that I was following right there, we were watching people being arrested and put onto that MTA bus that's backing out of your picture. So we've seen at least a dozen people being arrested. Um, the desk asked me to not go on that, and I don't know where it went. When I pulled the camera away, it went somewhere in the city. I don't know where it went. Uh, okay. No, I understand. I don't know where it would have gone. That's the problem. Yeah. Um, well, wait. Why is this crowd going down the street? What are we chasing? That's not it. It's the best I can do. Chopper to the desk. Oh, wait, that green car I'd seen there before. Wait a minute, let's see where the green car goes. I don't know where the SUV went. That green car was part of that at one point, though, I think. Probably. Copy that. Okay, so we want to go look back at this crowd over here, Eric. I don't know where everybody is, if you can reposition. Okay. Control room, hold on 1 second, talking to the assignment desk. Brian, what were you saying? Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you, assignment desk, and 46, go ahead. Yep. Okay. Okay, everybody, I am ready. Yes. Okay, 46 knows I'm doing this, right? Okay, go to Fox for 5 minutes and come back to us. Copy that. Sky Fox back on the Fox side. I got you now, yes. Yeah, I'm ready, guys. Antoine, we're looking at a lot of people still gathered in Union Square. Now, if you saw before, we were following that SUV. That seems to be the Twitch sensation, Kai Sanat, that was in that vehicle. That vehicle has left the area. We saw it go down East 17th Street, and he has left the Union Square area, but a large crowd remains here on the south end of the park. You're looking down at East 14th Street, and what we noticed earlier is that the NYPD is using this articulated MTA bus. It seems to be using that bus to bring in some of the people that they are arresting. If you look close enough there, we'll try to focus that camera up for you. You can see there are people that they have in custody that they're putting onto that bus. This is the second time the bus has been here. We've seen at least a dozen people being arrested. But again, we'll come back over here. You see that line of police along East 14th Street trying to keep the crowd off the street there and either inside the park, or you see in the top of your video on the sidewalks there. But even though we've seen that person leave the Union Square area, there's still a large crowd gathered here. We're going to look through the buildings here. As you can imagine, the airspace overhead a little congested. We do have aviation up here with us, but you can see people still walking around the intersection. That's going to be East 14th, right at Broadway. So you still have people blocking traffic over there and even inside the park. Quite a few people still gathered inside. We don't see the commotion that we had seen earlier. We had seen objects being thrown. Still a few people on top of that subway station awning there. But again, it seems to be a little more of a relaxed situation. Just a large crowd still gathered here on the south side of Union Square. There was a large crowd that followed the SUV, but relative to the large crowd that's down here in Union Square, which is a small portion of that crowd, so they tried to follow him for about a block down towards Fifth Avenue. Unfortunately, we did see people also hanging onto the SUV, and a couple of those people unfortunately fell off the SUV as it was trying to rush away from the scene. But the crowd itself, for the most part, still seems to be down on the southeast corner of the park, gathered over here. A small crowd left, but not a large portion of it when Kai Cenat left the area. We did not. They seem to be staying down here on 14th Street. When that Twitch sensation was trying to get away in his SUV, that was over here on Union Square East, and we didn't see any police presence over here. The crowd got bigger as they realized who was in that SUV, but the police did not seem to make their way up here, and even when the car got onto East 17th Street, the police seemingly stayed on the south side, which is left side of your screen, the south side of Union Square. Oh, absolutely, Antoine. What we saw before, this building unfortunately is blocking Union Square East, but the other angle we had before, there were about 8 cars, I believe, that were still stuck at the traffic light, and the crowd swarmed around those cars, and you saw people climbing onto the cars, going from one car to the other, even sitting on the cars. Not necessarily doing anything to damage the cars or destroy them, but they did definitely trap those cars in that sea of people at the traffic light down here at 14th and Broadway. Right. Oh. There you go, Antoine. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I can't tell whose car it is, or if they're just looking through it now, but you see objects being thrown in the crowd, too. And Sky Fox, Fox Desk. Sky Fox, Fox Desk. Sky Fox going back to the other side. Okay, Chopper's back on the CBS side. Right. Yeah, we're kind of stuck where we are at the moment. Yes, and you want me to talk for a few minutes, right? Okay, and it's Dana and Christine coming in studio? Or, I'm sorry, yes, Maurice. Sorry. Well, as you and Marcia had said, it does appear that the crowd is getting smaller down here in Union Square, but still not quite under control yet. Now, what you're looking at here is the southeast corner of Union Square. I'm going to tilt the camera up a little bit. What you'll see over here, that is University Place on the top of your screen there. So we've seen two separate crowds now building in this area as they try to disperse the group. You can see that's University Place down there. A lot of that has moved away from Union Square. As a matter of fact, what we now see are the police have their barriers up, blocking off East 14th Street. So they're getting control of that side of Union Square. But what we have been watching, though, is still that crowd milling about over here on the other side, on the southeast corner here, down by Broadway. We were zoomed in with the camera there for a few minutes. A couple of vehicles were trapped in that crowd. We saw people on top of that white vehicle. We had seen the police trying to move in over here, and you can see now they are trying to put more barriers up around Union Square, trying to keep that square, trying to keep everybody inside the park, trying to get everybody off of the streets. But look at the street itself, and you can see all that debris that is on there. We see chairs, you see bottles, you see we've seen traffic cones and construction barrels all being thrown in the crowd there. And now what we have is that aftermath of that chaos inside the park. Oh, absolutely. And I mean, obviously, from 2,000 feet where we are, it's hard to get a gauge on the age of the crowd. But it seemed to me, from this vantage point, a much younger crowd. So you see a lot of these young people, you know, you got to remember the history of this park. I mean, the protests you've had here, the peaceful protests, the gatherings to stand up against injustices and what have you, it turns into basically what looked like, for lack of a better term, a mosh pit. People running into the center of one area and just bouncing off of each other, tossing whatever they can get their hands on. You can see even at this point, on top of that subway awning, you still have about a half a dozen people standing on top of that awning. And no, they're just, they seem to be young people just standing up there, whether they're making a stand against something. Again, it's not clear what they're upset about, if they're upset. But they're going to stand on top of that awning until somebody pulls them off of there. That's right, Marcia, and you can see what they're doing is, like you said, they're gathering them all over there. You see the orange construction barrels that I was talking about. You know, they're gathered in that pile as well. And for the police officers down there now, their big task is to control the crowd, which it looks like just even in the last couple of minutes, they seem to be getting a handle on the crowd down there. But they're also trying to get as many things that can be tossed away from the people who are gathered inside the park here. You can see them putting that pile of debris, we'll call it now, all in that area. I feel like they have been for the most part. Yeah, absolutely, Marcia. We've been watching that crowd. We had talked about it before. They did not arrive for the most part in riot gear. There are no helmets. There are no shields. No masks trying to protect themselves. They're all just trying to form a line like you see here so that the crowd does not go back into the street. When we saw the first group of police officers arrive, they just calmly walked from 14th Street over here towards the statue. And you watched in the earlier video, it's just a calm presence. They go through the crowd. The crowd, for the most part, was staying away from them. And they were just coming in over here. It's hard to see by the tree on the right side of the video, but trying to get people away from the statue, places that these people shouldn't be. And again, Eric, if there's any way you can squeeze over a little bit, I'd appreciate it. I know you're crowded. If you can't, you can't. That's fine. And of course, if you see the fuel getting down to about 20 minutes, let me know. Okay. You, okay. You're good right now. Thank you. No, that was there before the extinguisher. I'm going to say probably in 20 minutes. Does that sound fair, Eric, for fuel? 1 second, CBS. Eric, is that a yes or a no? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, probably about 20 minutes. So figure 10 after 5-ish. No. In 20 minutes, probably. 20. Yep. Um, can we come over a little bit, Eric? 18 to the west. I need to look at 6th Avenue. There are people going up 6th Avenue. If you gotta go a little south, you go a little south. I'm looking. There's some sort of commotion on there. Are you south of everybody? If you can just keep going west because I need to clear these buildings to look up 6th Avenue. Yep, we're doing our best there, Wanda. I got you. There is a crowd on 6. I can kind of see it. Okay, keep going west. Like, I don't know if you see the video, but keep going west. I need to look up this avenue that I'm trying to look at. Probably Linden, because I don't know what's going to be like at 30th Street. Why are they all? They're running. Why are they running? I don't know what's going on. Huh. Oh, I'm sorry, Maurice, are you there? Hey, go ahead. Okay, probably by 5:15 I'm going to have to go at the latest. Okay. Yeah, it's hard to follow. 6th Avenue and West 21st Street. Okay. I'm not sure where I am. Nope, I just needed to find out where Union Square was. Let's stay here. I'm ready. And Maurice, quite a different scene down here now at around 5 o'clock. As you see, police have seemed to have gained the upper hand now on the situation in Union Square. About 3:30 this afternoon, we arrived on the scene not long after the crowds had gathered here for that giveaway by that online YouTuber, Twitch sensation Kai Cenat. The crowd very large, not only taking over this section of the park, but also across the street. We had seen people over there as well, and as we arrived, we saw people surging against each other, running towards the center of the park, people throwing things. As a matter of fact, you're going to see that right now as we're talking to you. You can see the group. This is how it would go when, from the moment we got here. People would just disperse in random areas. Not clear what sets that off, why people are doing that, but people began to throw things around. We saw cones, water bottles, construction barrels, anything they get their hands on, they were throwing it around the park here. And as you can see, several people on top of this pavilion that was being taken care of at the subway entrance there. There was a barrier around here. They tore down the barrier, climbed on top of here. At one point, they even set off a fire extinguisher. And again, all of it not aimed at one particular person, just throwing as much as they could. The police clearly outnumbered down here. It took them some time to get into the crowd and try to contain everything. And it seemed like once Kai Cenat left the area, the crowds dispersed a tiny bit. And it wasn't until police were able to get all these barriers up on 14th Street, they were able to get a handle on the crowd down here. But we saw traffic being stopped. We saw people climbing on top of cars. Just a chaotic scene up here, Maurice and Christine, as they were trying to get a handle on everything down here in Union Square. Switching over. Sky Fox on the Fox side. Ooh. Hello. Okay. Okay, I'm ready. Okay. Standing by. Standing by. And yeah, Teresa had it exactly right. They were trying to get the crowds out of Union Square, and it looks like, for the most part, they have. What you were watching there, what you saw before earlier, was that they were taking the barriers. And they're in their, looks like this set of officers are in their riot gear, but they took the barriers and they started pushing the crowd in towards the statue of George Washington. So they're trying to push the crowds out of the park. And for the most part, I'll bring the camera back out for everybody. You can see that whole south end, where when we arrived, was filled. The entire area was filled with people, and now nobody is left on the south end of Union Square Park. You can see that they have been pushing them more towards, it looks like 15th Street at this point. Again, a much smaller crowd than we've seen, but there they go again. You can see every so often they just start running. The police helicopter going through the scene there. You see the police on the top of the screen. They're just trying to clear the park at this point, and that's what they're